In this HTML5 tutorial, we'll build a page layout using the CSS-free new and shiny display grid or the old flexbox. Let's get on with it. What's up guys, I'm Marian and my passion is to create a web and help you be part of it. If you're new over here, this is CodeTap where you'll master how to build websites with minimal knowledge of HTML5, CSS3 and JavaScript. So consider subscribing. In our previous lesson, we've started our project by creating a copy of the repository pug-starter from GitHub to our computer. Today we'll start building our landing page by creating the content and then style it. Okay guys, so let's look at our landing page, what we want to build. There is a top navigation menu which contains links that take you to the secondary landing pages. The same links can be found on the left navigation menu at the current moment. However, the left navigation menu will change based on the landing page or the secondary landing page. Then there is this content area which is unique for every page. And then we also have a footer. The footer is the same across the entire pages of the website. With that said, let's open our project. Yes. In the previous one, we wrote a bunch of lines in our pug file. Once we saved the file, it got compiled into HTML and our browser refreshed. So let's quickly recreate those steps and at the same time continue to write our content. So if you haven't got a source folder, you can click this icon which says new folder and say src. And in this src folder, let's create an index.pug file. And in here we'll type doctype HTML. And then we'll have a HTML tag and then a head and the body. Okay, so now let's start our project and see it live happening. So we'll say in the command line npm start. Give it a sec. Our browser should open with what we currently have, which is not much. So let's split this screen and resize the bit. Okay, let's put a title here and an h1 tag. Once we save it, we can see that the title of this page is hey, and we have an h1 tag here, hola. So now let's continue to put in place some proper tags like a title tag and the meta description. By the way, the title tag and meta description are very important. Google and other search engines will make use of this to display proper data when your web page is found in a search result. So this is a way for you to control what Google or other search engines output. So make good use of this. Okay, so for title, let's write learn to code HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And we'll also create a meta tag. The name is description and the content is this is an HTML replica of W3 Schools. Okay. When we save this, if we right click our page and choose view page source, we can see that we have a meta description which is actually called mate, so it's not a typo, so meta, that's cool. Now let's refresh this one, so we have a meta, name, description and content, and we also have a head and a title tag. Okay, let's go on with our content. So we want to create now the top menu, which has a bunch of links into it. So let's replace this one by an a tag with an href attribute ref equals slash, which means root. This link will take us to the landing page which we are currently on. So let's call this home. Okay. Okay, so let's duplicate this line. I'll use copy paste a bunch of times. And right here, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And over here, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Save it. So now I have those links over here. Let's wrap this content into a header tag. So right here, header, then I'll select those lines and press tab. So now this is wrapped in a header. If we right click and inspect, and make this a bit bigger, you can see that in the body we have a header followed by a bunch of links. Now let's continue writing our second navigation, and let's do the same. So it will be an A tag with the href towards HTML slash HTML, and we'll call it learn HTML. Okay, let's copy paste this a few times and then CSS, then JavaScript, same here, CSS, JavaScript. Okay, and on top of it we'll also add a header free tag, which will be having the content of HTML and CSS. Let's also wrap this in navigation tag. So right now if we refresh our page, you can see that we have our header, and then we have a navigation tag, and then those h3, this h3, and followed by learn HTML, learn CSS, learn JavaScript, all links. Okay, so now let's do our content and also wrap it in a tag. Let's wrap it in an article tag. Okay. And over here we want to have an h1 tag, a header 1 tag, followed by a description which will sit inside the p tag. And after that we want to have 3 times an h2 tag followed by a description which will sit again in a p tag. So let's do some dummy content for the moment to see it on the screen. So h1 and p. Okay, now let's copy paste this a few times and then select this, pressing Ctrl D, multi-line, and transform it into h2. And let's put 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you can see that we have an h1 tag here. So after our header, after our nav inside the article, we have an h1 tag. Then this one is followed by h2 tags and p tags. So let's put some real content into it right now. This is a replica FW schools.com. I'll just copy paste some content in to save some typing time. Okay, save it. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, so for HTML we have the language of building web pages. For CSS we have the language of styling web pages, and for JavaScript the language of programming web pages. Okay, let's save this one. And this is what we have at the moment. Okay, let's also add our footer. Okay, we can directly paste the content inside this one. Save it. Okay, there appears to be an error. Expecting. Yes, that should be it. So Pug is very keen about using proper spacing. So over here we had like 3 spaces and Pug started to complain about it. Okay. So we've got most of our content ready. I would also like to add inside our p tags some links which will take us to the secondary landing pages as well as the ones present on the top menu. So to add links inside the p tags, in Pug we have to interpolate another tag. So to do that, we'll just have to use the brackets, and inside here we can say any tag followed by some content, and when we save it we can see that it's not working because we haven't prepared it with a pound. Okay, so now if we inspect this one, we can see that the tag is ASD followed by the content of it, which is ASD1. Okay, so now let's transform this into a link. So I'll just copy paste it to save some typing time. So once I save it, you can see that the link appeared here, and if we look into the article and paragraph, we can see that we have a link pointing to HTML with the label check it out. So let's do that for the other ones. So all we need to do is interpolate the a tag here, the anchor tag, and I think it's over here too. Save it, and you can see that see awesomeness happening. Discover the way up. Oh, something is missing. Okay, so CSS has a link. This one has a link. Super awesome. Am I missing something? Yes, the CSS doesn't have a link. Yes. Now I fixed it, or I'm about to fix it. Let's move this one to HTML. And that's it. Now HTML has a link, check it out. CSS has another link, see awesomeness happening, and JavaScript, discover the way up. Now that's about it with our content. Now it's time to style it up. Okay guys, so just before we start styling it, let's make a quick drawing of our layout to properly understand what's our intent. So with that said, let's make a quick square, and over here I'll separate this like that. Okay, so we have our top menu here, our side, and content, and our footer too. Okay, so this is how our layout looks like, and in order to use display grid, let's redraw this using dotted lines. So we'll do the same, but this time with dotted lines. Which go all the way from up to down and from left to right, and then this area over here, and this area over here, just like that. Okay, so we have here our header, and here our footer, and the side and the content. Okay, what we need to pay attention right now is that we have 3 column lines and 4 column rows. So let's name this with 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so why do we need this? Let's throw some hashing over here. Because when we'll be using grid in a moment to build this layout, we'll declare some arrays and we'll say that the header spans from the column 1 to the column 3 and from row 1 to row 2, and then the side spans from column 1 to column 2 and from row 2 to row 3, and then the content spans from column 2 to column 3 and from row 2 to row 3. And then we also have the footer, which spans from column 1 to column 3 and from row 3 to row 4. So this is how we'll place our content inside the grid. With that being said, let's switch back to our big screen and start doing some styling. So to add the style, let's go into our head tag and add a link tag with the relation attribute of style sheet and the href of style CSS. Okay, right now it doesn't do anything, and let's create a file in this src folder named style.scss, and here let's do h1 color red. Okay, as soon as we save it, we can see that the h1 has turned red. Let's do blue, and we can see that the h1 has turned into blue. Okay, so let's grab some colors. I'll show you how to grab some colors from other pages. Let's inspect W3 Schools, the top side of the menu, the web page, and if we click on this A tag and we look at it, we'll see at some point that it has background color 5F, 5F, 5F. That's the hexadecimal value. If we click on it, you can grab and copy it over. Let's look for something else. Let's look for this green over here. So you can see that this A tag, which is the active one, has a background color of 4CAF50. That's the hexadecimal value of this green color. And if we want to save this color into our project and make use of a variable name, which in CSS3 we can do like this, say root and curly braces, and we can say color 1 colon and then the value of the color. So that would be color 1. However, I want to show a cool trick. So if you go on Google and search for name that color, you'll see this link here, chir.ag, this weird link over here. Just click on it, and when you paste here a color, it will tell you the name of it. So this is what name that color does. It will put a more humanly and easy to read and remember name to it, like fruit salad for this green. Now I've gone through the trouble of picking up all the colors from this website. For example, for this top nav, there's this background color and so on for this navigation. So I'll just copy paste them over. Okay, Now our colors will look like this, and let's also get rid of this H1. With this being said, let's continue and build our layout. So our current page still looks unstyled. And let's find it. This one. Yeah. Put it over here. Done. Okay. So let's go back to our editor. And if we inspect this page at the moment, let's add some resetting of the default values. So we'll do HTML and body, we'll do height of 100%. Okay, and the font size should remain the same. Let's select all tags and do border size, box sizing, border box. We'll talk a bit about this later, and let's do the grid now. So for body, we'll say display grid. Okay, and we'll also say grid template columns. Okay, and we'll make the first column wide as 220 pixels, and the second one will make it equal to 1 fraction. That's what 1 here stands for. 1 fraction of the remaining available width. Okay, so let's do the grid template rows. And for this one, we want the header to be 44 pixels in height. Then we want the footer to be also 44 pixels in height, and the remaining to be 1 fraction of whatever is remaining. So let's do 44 pixels, 1 PR, and 44 pixels. Okay, so with this said, let's also add the font of Arial sans serif. So font family Arial, yeah, that's a bit. Okay, so this is how our page looks currently. Let's make it a bit bigger right now, a bit bigger, so you can see it. Yeah, still not in its proper place. Now let's make use of those colors so we can see easier how our header, footer, navigation, and content behave. Okay, so for header and footer we want to have the same color, which is the scorpion one, this one over here. So we'll say bg color, and we'll use the var keyword, and then we'll put the color in the scorpion one. So if we save it, you can see that the header and the footer now have a background color. We'll also do this for the navigation and use the seashell color. Okay. BG color bar seashell. Yeah. Save it. And also this one has a background color, so it's easier for us to see which one is which. Now for header and footer, we have the color, and let's put the header in place. Header, and we said that the header from this one spans from column 1 to column 3 and from row 1 to row 2. So let's do that now. Let's say grid row, or grid column actually. Let's do this one first. So if we say 1/3, it means it spans from 1 to 3. And then the grid row grid row, yes. 1/2 means it starts at 1 and ends at 2. Okay. So now the header is in place. Let's do the navigation tool. Grid column. This one is from 1 to 2. And grid row. This one is from 2 to 3. So again, this is the side navigation, and it starts from column 1 to column 2 and from row 2 to row 3. Okay, now let's do the article. Okay, grid column. This one is from column 2 to column 3 and from row 2 to row 3. 2/3. Okay, and column row 2 row 3. Okay, and now let's also do the footer. This one spans from column 1 to column 3 and from row 3 to row 4. If you look at the footer right now, it's bunched up in this side. So let's do grid column 2, 3, grid row. Okay, 3, 4. No, this is 1 to 3. Yes. So now the footer is in place, the header is in place, and also the navigation and the content. We can see that there is a bit of white spacing over here. So in order to get rid of that, we can reset everything to margin 0, padding 0, maybe border 0, and whatever font size. However, there's a quicker way for us to do that. And if we Google reset CSS and follow this cssreset.com link, we can grab this piece of code over here. Okay, and let's make here a new file and name it reset SCSS. Okay, save it, and then in the style SCSS, go all the way up and say import reset. Okay, save it and go back to our page. We can see that we got rid of those white spaces, and now we can continue adding some more margins, paddings and colors to our website to make it look nicer. So I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so before we continue with our styling, I've noticed that in index pug we have a broken HTML logic, which is we have an h3 tag before an h1 and before an h2, which doesn't make sense. So let's grab this content over here and move it on top of the footer and below the article. With that being said, when we save this page, we can see that the page looks exactly the same. That's because the CSS display grid, with it we can place content inside the grid, and no matter what the order in the page is. So that's cool about it. Now let's start styling our header tag, our header. Okay, so inside styles CSS, let's do header, and we want to target those links that don't look that nicely right now. So we want to target those anchor tags. So let's do a color white, and let's say var color white. Okay, let me resize this a bit quickly. Touch a bit, and Ctrl V, no, Ctrl V, Okay, so when I save this one, you can see that the anchor tags changed their color to white. Okay, we also notice that there's an underline, so to get rid of that we say text decoration none. Okay, now we have no more underlines. I think I want to add some padding to it, so let's do padding. And when you specify two values, it means that the first value is for the top and the bottom, and the second value is for left and right and left, so 0 and 15 pixels. Okay, now it looks a bit better, at least on the horizontal side. So for the vertical ones, let's do a line height of 44 pixels. So that looks a bit better now. And what else? We also want a font size of 17 pixels. That sounds good. Yeah, we have an extra character here. By the way, pug-starter usually displays an error in the browser and as well in the console for invalid SCSS or pug. So with that said, we have this one in place now. And what else? Let's see. We want those tags to be taller. So I think that doesn't work because we haven't saved display inline. Look. Now I hover over them. Looks better. Okay. Now let's get back to this index pug file and add a class of current. Current. Okay. So if we look into the HTML for this tag, we can see that it has a class of current. So we want to style this differently. So in SAS we can make use of the nesting. And this ampersand says will be replaced later on in the CSS as header A, and we say current. For this one we want to change the background color. UVC color bar, and this will be the fruit salad, right? Fruit salad. Okay, now I have the current one styled. Let's do the hover one. Okay, so we want the background of this one to be black. Background color bar black. Okay, so if we hover over, you can see nice hover effect over here. Okay, so I think our header is styled now. The battery on my camera runs low, so I'll quickly go and change that. Now let's continue to quickly style our navigation. So in order to do that, we want to have this HTML and CSS H2, H3 tag start a bit lower. So if you want to move an entire tag down, usually use margin, but if you want to move the content of something down, use a padding. So let's do padding for the navigation, and let's do nav padding top 20 pixels. Okay, so now our content starts a bit lower by 20 pixels. Okay, now let's do the anchor tags inside it. The anchor tags. Okay, so we've typed A, and we do the what? Let's put a color black. Var Okay, let's get rid of the decoration, the underline, text decoration none. Okay, what else? To display inline block. Okay, and width 100%. That's better. And what else? Padding 5 and 12. Padding 5 pixels top and bottom and 12 pixels left and right. Okay, so now it looks a lot better. Okay, the h3 tag now looks a bit off, so let's do that for h3. Okay, let's do the same padding. However, let's do h3 and a, and let's move the start from over here to over here. Okay, save it, and it looks better. Okay, so those are the links that will take us to HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So now let's do a hover effect for those links. So we'll do ampersand and hover pseudo class, and inside it we'll do the background color of scorpion and the color of white. VGC background color var scorpion and color of white var white. Okay, there's no hover effect. Why is that? Okay, so now I have a nice hover effect over this one. Let's quickly do the footer too. So for the footer, we want to use the display flex, right? Okay, and justify content center and align items center. And now our content is vertically and horizontally aligned. And let's quickly do the content too. So they have article. Okay, so inside the article, this one over here, let's do an overall padding of 15 pixels, which means top, left, right, and bottom. Okay, that looks better. What else? For the paragraph tags, let's do a margin of 15 pixels and 0. 15 pixels, 0. So 15 pixels top, 15 pixels bottom, 0 left and right. And the font size of 15 pixels. Okay, so if we look at this paragraph, you can see that it has a margin top and a margin bottom. Okay, and okay, line height 36 pixels. So line height 36 pixels. Bam. That looks a bit odd. Okay. What else? Let's do the header tags. So h1, h2, lazy me, h3, h4, h5, and h6. 15 pixels 0. Okay. This is not right. Anyway, we'll fix that a bit later. H1, font size 36 pixels. Okay, enter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1. So this should be 40. Let me check this. 24, 2018, 24, 2018, and 16. Yep. So now I got this H1 tag, H2 tags, and H3. I just found a typo, and let's go over here and click this source control. Click the icon next to the changes, the plus icon, which will add everything to the stage, and let's do finished adding our content and styling it. Okay, let's hit this commit button and then do sync. So once this is done, if we go on our GitHub page and refresh it, you can see that there are 2 commits, and we can see the finish adding our content and styling it message with all the changes that we've made. Bam bam. That's it guys. In our next lesson we'll continue to build multiple pages. Remember to follow CodeTap on YouTube and Facebook. 2 other free resources that I strongly recommend and are totally free are W3 Schools, where you can literally start from scratch and discover more about HTML5, CSS3 and JavaScript. To test your new skills, go on FreeCodeCamp and enjoy the challenges. If you get stuck, don't worry, that's part of the process. There is a great and amazing community on FreeCodeCamp ready to help. And it's 2:30 AM, which makes me a bit crazy. And that brings me to the next questions. What did you get from this movie? Where would you put this in practice? What would be a real project you'd see this new knowledge put into? Leave this in the comment section below, and don't forget, some of the best tips come from you guys, the amazing CodeTap community. So check the comments below. Now don't forget to subscribe, and it's time for you to show me some real love and give me the thumbs up for this video if you liked it, or thumbs down if you didn't. And as always, happy coding and create something new.